Support WrestleTalk!
Thank you for your awesome support on Patreon. Jerry was a race car driver. I'm very sorry, but thank you anyway. Roman Reigns gets his first SmackDown feud. Becky Lynch gets a new SmackDown Women's Championship contender, and Kevin Owens turns heel on the New Day just 7 days after joining their ranks. And what's up with Daniel Bryan being removed from live events? I am Luke Owen. Have yourself a super click party by pressing the thumbs up and subscribe buttons, and leave a comment down below to answer our question of the day. Are you happy that Charlotte Flair is once again facing Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's Championship? And vote in the poll above my head to let me know what you thought of the show, where you can choose from Smackdown, Smacktastic, Smack Bang in the Middle, Smackdowner, and a smack in the face. This is the 23rd of April 2019 edition of SmackDown Live. Shane McMahon opened the show this week to recap what happened last week with Roman Reigns and Vince McMahon, quite brilliantly scolding Roman by asking what sort of person would put their hands on another man's father. He called out Roman to say they're gonna settle this in the ring, which brought out the big dog. And can I just say for the record, it is so refreshing for Roman Reigns to come out to the ring without Michael Cole shouting, "Here comes the big dog!" Roman and Shane were about to get into a fight when Elias ran down and caused a distraction, allowing the Drifter and Shane to beat down Roman. So, I guess they're best friends now. People, let me tell you about my best friend. Which was furthered when we saw them backstage bragging about beating up Reigns, and Elias later challenging Roman to a match at Money in the Bank through the medium of song. And his bardic inspiration was so successful, the stirring words made Shane jump into a limo with him. People, let me tell you about my best friend. Roman accepted the challenge, and it was announced that he will face Elias at Money in the Bank. It is a bit of a shame that Roman's first feud on SmackDown Live is against a Raw guy, but this is all a vehicle to build towards Roman versus Shane down the line, which I think is a really great use of Roman Reigns. I just hope you're all ready for another match where the heel grinds down Roman with headlocks before Reigns makes his comeback. Ooh ah. Dasher. It is Dasher, right? Interviewed Kofi Kingston backstage, and he and Xavier Woods introduced New Day's official newest member, Kevin Owens, aka The Big O. Ollie Davis will be thrilled that this act is sticking together after last week. I'm sure there won't be anything on this show that will break his tiny little heart. Finn Balor then took on the man that beat him on his first night on Monday Night Raw, but had since jumped back to SmackDown Live, Andrade. These two didn't have quite as good a match as they did last week, but there was some really good action, with Zelina Vega's interference backfiring, allowing Balor to hit the coup de grace for the win. It's been reported that Andrade was brought back to SmackDown because Fox wanted to feature Spanish-speaking wrestlers. So let's hope the future is brighter for Andrade than a 50-50 feud. And speaking of needing a brighter future, Peyton Royce of the Iconics was pinned by SmackDown newcomer Kairi Sane in an incredibly short match. I mean, this barely went a minute. Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio got more time at WrestleMania. And since winning the Women's Tag Team Championships, the Iconics have only won one match. And granted, that was the undefeated and nearly unstoppable Brooklyn Bells, but that's not the point. Not only does it suck that the tag champs keep eating pinfalls, they're now a backdrop to a feud between Asuka and Sane versus Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. It was a bad night for the Iconics, which is a shame because their super lame-o promo before the match was terrific. Aleister Black cut a really good promo backstage in a dark room, and then we were supposed to get a match between Chad Gable and Jinder Mahal. I guess Jinder is back on SmackDown now. The match didn't get started, however, with Lars Sullivan running down to destroy Gable and the Singh brothers. R-Truth ran down for the save, but he was also flattened by lurking Lars. I think Chad would have had a more successful SmackDown return if he'd grown a moustache. Charlotte Flair came out for a promo in her gear, so I guess she'll be having a match in the next segments, where she recapped WrestleMania and asked why Becky Lynch was the SmackDown Women's Champion when she only beat Ronda Rousey. Lynch came out to explain to Flair that those were the rules of the match, and she wants new challengers rather than facing Flair once again, calling Charlotte the web management won't untangle her from. Bayley came out in her gear, so I guess that's who Flair will be facing in a match, and said that while Becky has beaten Flair time and time again, she's never beaten her. And this led to a match between Bayley and Charlotte Flair. I'm as shocked as you are, which was really, really great. The two traded big moves and near falls, and there was a lot of drama in the match, with the crowd firmly behind babyface Bayley against the superb heel in Charlotte Flair. But while the match was great, the commentary from Byron Saxton and Corey Graves made it almost insufferable for a stretch of time, arguing about Charlotte Flair getting another shot at Becky Lynch's championship. If it had been for a couple of minutes, it would have been one thing, but it felt like it lasted nearly the whole match. Despite her best efforts, Bayley was pinned by Charlotte Flair's spear, meaning Becky Lynch will defend her SmackDown Women's Championship against the Queen at Money in the Bank. Lynch versus Flair is becoming Randy Orton versus John Cena levels of comical now. This feud is so never-ending, I'm expecting a flying dog to be part of it soon. With SmackDown having such a strong women's roster, I'm really hoping this is the final chapter of this feud for a little while. You know, make people want to see it again. We then got the same Firefly Funhouse segment from Monday Night's Raw, which, while still great, was the exact same thing we saw just 24 hours earlier. So it's a shame that they didn't have a different one to show on SmackDown. It also confirms that Bray Wyatt, Bird Raptor, and Abby the Witch still don't have a brand. So the superstar shakeup rolls on, I guess. And in the main event, WWE Champion Kofi Kingston took on Shinsuke Nakamura in what was, frankly, quite a boring match. Nakamura worked over Kofi for a long time, and then Kofi made a comeback, getting the win with the SOS, only for it to be broken up by Rusev to cause a DQ. To be honest, the highlight of this match was Big O and Woods providing commentary, which was so much better than Graves and Saxton arguing about Charlotte Flair. Everyone then brawled around ringside, with Kofi taking out Nakamura with the Trouble in Paradise, only to walk into a giant super kick from Kevin Owens. The former Big O then tore off his New Day t-shirt and beat down the WWE Champion, saying he's coming to take the title off of him. Kofi's desperate comeback was tremendous here, as was Xavier Woods' dive through the ropes to stop Owens giving Kingston the powerbomb on the apron. Owens instead gave the powerbomb to Woods and stared a hole through Kofi to end the show. The angle was great, but it is a shame that the partnership between Kevin Owens and New Day wasn't given more time to grow and flourish. This is an angle that should have happened in 2 months' time rather than 7 days from its starting. I also don't think we've had enough of Owens as a babyface for the heel turn to mean a great deal. But with all that said, a Kofi versus Owens program for the WWE Championship is indeed fresh and different, and I am all for that. And it capped off a pretty good episode of SmackDown Live. Despite my grievances with the winner, the Bayley versus Flair match was great, and the final angle with Owens and Kofi was excellent. The rest of the show was middling at best, but I would say that this week's SmackDown Live was smacktastic. And now over to Pete Quinnell, who has the latest on Daniel Bryan being removed from live events.
What a smashing review, Luke, especially that one part where you made that joke about that one thing. Was great. Something else that's great is John Cena. I don't think 16-year-old me would have ever thought I'd be saying that, and yet, here we are. Yesterday saw the 42nd birthday of one Jonathan Felix Anthony Cena Jr., with the Doctor of Thugonomics taking to the more normal of his 2 public social media accounts to share his perspective and, more importantly, share his 72,000 individual muscle groups. Seriously, I think scientists need to check that out, as there may be some sort of new discovery of muscles to be made here. It goes without saying that Cena has been one of the largest stars the WWE has ever seen, a view that is also shared by the owner of the company, who took to Twitter to share his thoughts on Big Match John's big day. Happy birthday to WWE's Babe Ruth, John Cena. I really can't describe in words how much John Cena means to me and the WWE universe. Hashtag hustle, loyalty, respect, love. Aww. Isn't that sweet? It's like Cena's like another son to Vince. So much love going around. I wonder what outpouring of emotion he did for his actual son, Shane's birthday. Happy birthday, Shane. Moving right along to something slightly more serious now though, and it appears a current champion on SmackDown may have suffered an injury over the weekend. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer is reporting that current SmackDown Live Tag Team Champion Jeff Hardy may have suffered a leg injury at a house show in Madison, Wisconsin this past Saturday. This was furthered by Hardy seen visibly limping at the following night's house show in Rochester, Minnesota. The Hardy Boys were nowhere to be seen on this week's episode of SmackDown Live, which could lend further credence to Hardy actually having the injury. As the severity of the injury is as of yet unknown, it's not clear whether this will lead to the Hardys being forced to vacate the titles. If they do, I'm sure they can be picked up by well-established tag team stars Heavy Machinery, Nakamura and Rusev? Who else do they even have? Regardless, if the injury is legitimate, WrestleTalk would like to wish Jeff well in his recovery process. Well, that's the sad injury story out of the way. Let's get on to something more positive, shall we? Daniel Bryan's been pulled from more shows because of injury. As reported by Wrestling Inc., Bryan was pulled from both of SmackDown's house shows in Madison and Rochester, and he wasn't anywhere to be seen on this week's episode of SmackDown either. The former WWE and current Planets champion has been out of action since WrestleMania 35, where he reportedly suffered an undisclosed injury. According to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, the injury is supposed to be a closely guarded secret, which only adds fuel to the fire of a potentially career-ending injury, especially given Bryan's past neck troubles. With Money in the Bank fast approaching and Bryan seemingly an obvious choice for the ladder match itself, only time will tell if he is in good enough condition to compete at the event. Once again, WrestleTalk would like to wish Bryan well in his recovery process if this injury is indeed legitimate. Please get well soon. Now, can everyone stop getting injured? Next time I'm here, I want some happy stories to report on, please. Are Charlotte Flair and Andrade getting married? Click the video to my right to find out right now. A special shout out to our lovely patrons on Patreon, some of which you can see scrolling below me right now. Click the thumbs up, subscribe, enable notifications, and leave us a comment answering the question of the day. I've been Pete Quinnell, and that was wrestling.